All right, thanks for watching my demo. Here's my FMOD project. Let's just start here with the turns. So I started with just a generic turn sound to test my implementation, but then I made some subtle variations here. Turn down, I have a pitch ramp going down. Turn up, it turns up, it pitches up. Here, turning left, pans to the left a bit. Turn right, pans to the right. Nothing too crazy here. Let's move on to asteroid damage. Pretty simple for this one. Didn't get complicated, just have a pitch variation. Got some variation here with the 3-band EQ. Makes it sound like there's more samples than there are. All right, here's Asteroid Explode. So I've got some pitch variation. It looks like didn't do any timing variation. Let me show you some layers here. So we got that, a distorted bass drop. Now the mix of these changes if we're boosting. So if we're boosting, there's that. So during boosting, the music turns up. So I wanted something a little less realistic, so I really cranked that distorted subdrop. Then I've got a separate layer for just the bass, and then some fireworks there. I think those turn up as well. Yes, and some more fireworks there. Yeah, if you've noticed the delay changing, the delay and some flanger, that turns on when boosting as well. So speaking of that, here's the boost sound. Nothing too crazy there. I do have some pitch variation on the bass drop, but it's hard to tell the difference. All right, here's the Asteroid Collide. So I do have a collision force parameter that I clamped down to just 1 to 100. So highest collision force, medium, and then barely moving at all. So what I'm doing here, I'm changing the volume of the different layers. Here we have that, where I've got some pitch variation as well. Bringing the pitch down as the collision force turns up. This is this is the same as one of the layers in the turns sound. I liked how it sounded in the mix here. And here's a metal impact. Again, increasing in volume, decreasing in pitch as we go up in collision force. And same thing for here. Okay. I also have here when the collision force is at its lowest, I do have some EQ automation. Oops. There we go. So it just passes these bands a bit and opens it up once it gets into the real collision. Fire, pretty basic. I do have some automation, so this pitch goes up as the speed goes up. So when it's boosting, I have the image collapsing to mono. You see here it's a bit wide. And then when we're boosting, it's really mono because I'm trying to accentuate the music at that point. Yeah, I've got some 3-band EQ randomization again. It's really just a nice way to give the illusion of more samples. The two most complex things I have are the music and the engine. Let's take a look at the music. So I finally got to use magnet regions, which I'd never done before, but for a simple music system made it really easy. So I've got 4 intensities here. These are actually being controlled by the engine, which we'll take a look at. But to make... so the speed controls the intensity here. So at 0 speed, I took one of these loops and just pitched it down 12 semitones. I've also got some EQ going here to keep it from being too bassy. So it brings the volume down a bit, but I don't really mind. So as soon as you accelerate, it goes to intensity 1. Then here we go to intensity 2, which kicks in pretty quick. And then intensity 3 is pretty close, just has a little bit of percussion. And so I made all the magnet regions the same length and used the relative offset so it keeps the same position. But another thing I did was added a layer for boosting. So no matter what, even if you go from 0 and then 0 intensity and then boost, it automatically goes to, it's actually the same loop as intensity 2. Same with intensity 1. If you boost, it'll go to intensity 2. And then intensity 2, it'll go immediately to intensity 3. And 3, there's no change. So what that looks like is here we're on intensity 2, then we boost. Say we stop boosting, we'll probably already be in intensity 1 because of being up to speed. And then it would crossfade to whichever intensity we were at. So yeah, the most complicated thing I've got going on is the engine. So when it comes to the music, I've got a command instrument down here. Just setting the music intensity parameter 0, 1, 2, and 3, depending on the speed. I didn't clamp the speed at all, so it's pretty similar to the amounts that are in the engine. So in Unreal Engine, I mean, so 0 to 14,000. And I've got some different layers that activate when boosting. But let's take a look at the different ones. So I started, this was my placeholder sound, was this chain chainsaw engine. It's pretty low in the mix, but I kind of liked it anyway. Next I've got some white noise. So this is just a it's a perfect loop of white noise that I've got here in the engine components. So we're looping some white noise, and I'm just filtering it. So I'm kind of making my own synth here. There's no built-in synths in FMOD, so I'm just doing this with loops. So we got white noise. You can see I've got a multi-band EQ. And then I've got an LFO on the you can see that LFO slows down when you slow down. Got some volume automation too. All right. Got low sine wave. This would be top speed. Kind of low rumble down there. You can hear the LFO going as well. I added another LFO for high speeds to bring back some low end. So it's basically the same layer. There's a high sine wave. Really low in the mix. I had it much higher, but the more I tested it, the more it annoyed me, so I brought it down to almost nothing. Here's a square wave. I think I muted this on my final export. So this was cool. I've got a shepherd tone here. Let's go in here. So because shepherd tones can work either way, so I made so I've got this shepherd tone going, and then I reversed that for when we're decelerating, and I've got the offset set to inverted. So it perfectly fades between the two. And so yeah, I've got this accelerating parameter, and that's controlled in Unreal. Let's go back to the main engine. So yeah, the shepherd tone. So I've got this raising in pitch, but because it's a shepherd tone, which sweeps through a whole bunch of frequencies, essentially it just makes the shepherd tone move faster. Yeah, I've got some EQ automation there too. All right, then I've got a couple layers here that play more of a part when you're boosting. So one is shaking here. So it's meant to sound like the ship shaking. I've got a tremolo kind of bouncing the sound between the left and right. And then here's another furniture shaking. Again, when you're not boosting, it's pretty low. But the way I've got that, I've got just a gain. I added a gain insert, and I'm controlling that with is boosting because I'm already doing track automation. There's probably a better way to do that, but that's how I hooked it up. And then I've got bullet flybys here in a layer I call zip. That's meant to be like the stars or asteroids zipping by. So I got two layers of that. And yeah, that's the engine. Okay, lastly, I wanted to show you the mixer. So let's take these one at a time. So Asteroid, when we're boosting, what's happening is just a subtle shift in EQ. So just cutting off a little bit at the high end, but then opening up the low end. We've got a volume boost in the fader, and then a big increase in the delay send. We've got here for fire, same thing. We've got an EQ shift, so just cutting off a little bit of the highs. We're cutting the volume, and then I'm also adding in a an LFO for the volume, so that sometimes it fades out even more. Because again, I wanted to emphasize the music on the boost, but we're also doing a big boost in the delay send. For the music bus, we're doing a big volume boost. Doing a boost in the reverb send and the delay send. The ship stays the same. The ship is really just the collisions and the turns. For the delay, I'm increasing the delay time when we boost. Increasing the feedback as well. And I've got a subtle LFO on the delay rate. Just give it some variation. The I've just got some EQ variation to make the delay sound a little less digital, a little more analog. Some chorus and some tremolo. I've got an effects reverb with a slightly shorter time of 3.5 second delay, and then for the music reverb, I've got a 7-second delay. And really, one of the big things here, I do a master boost here, just 1 dB. When we're boosting, but I've got a flanger here that goes from completely dry to a 14% mix. All right, so let's go to the profiler and play back the simulation here. Okay, but yeah, that just about does it. Let me know if you have any questions about what I did here in FMOD. In Unreal, let's open up Unreal. So for Unreal, I mainly followed along with the Airwiggles beginner walkthrough to hook up everything. I wasn't able to get a Doppler for the asteroids working in time. But here, basically, we're in the walkthrough they had meta sounds. I hooked up FMOD stuff. So for instance, here's the boost event. So I had the boost playing there, and then I would set is boosting continuous to 1, and then when boosting stop, I'd stop I would set is boosting continuous to 0. So there's a instance of that, or here's the collision. So I would play event. I just did 2D for these since the spaceship is pretty much in the middle. So play collide, and then set event instance set parameter, collision force, return value, and I got that value from collision force, and I did a map range clamp, and I did 0 to 14,000, which is about how fast the ship goes, and I clamped it 0 to 100. But yeah, most everything else was pretty basic FMOD stuff that I just hooked up using the beginner walkthrough. Okay, but just want to say thanks again to Airwiggles and everybody that worked on the project for this opportunity. Take care.